Our next panel will be discussing something that is very trendy right now, the intersection of blockchain and artificial intelligence. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our moderator. It's Andre Galarner. He is of MME. So please welcome our next panel.
Great to be back here. Welcome everybody on the AI conversion panel, AI and blockchain. I have a great set of panelists here, which I'll let you introduce in a short minute. Actually, by the way, just remember it. I think it feels like the 35th time I've been traveling to Vaduz for this conference now. And it's the first time I actually managed to be on this floor and not in the basement. So thank you, Thomas, for that. I still believe it's an admin mistake, but it's good to be up here. AI, blockchain, conversions. I think we've seen over the last years two very transformative technologies developing in parallel. One being AI, kind of the compute engine of the digital world, allowing computation, decision-making, execution in an automated way, and then, of course, blockchain, accountability, traceability, a trust layer for compute and transactions. Now, we've seen in the last years these two technologies merging, and this panel today will discuss how are they merging, why is it important, what is going to be changing, and also a bit when. Now, we have Oliver, Yadislav, and Sergey on the panel. George, apologies. So please introduce yourself, all highly involved in blockchain and AI development.
All right, so I can start. Hi, I'm George. I spend most of my time in the Principality of Andorra, but today I'm switching microstates for a little while. I am the co-founder of Finicera Labs, and we are building BaseWhite, which is the data layer for humans and AI. Essentially, we're building a data catalog that groups all the structured data in the world and that AIs can access at inference time in order to provide trustable, auditable, and higher quality answers.
Hello, my name is Janislav Malahov. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. I'm the founder of Eternity Blockchain, which is kind of a dinosaur in the blockchain space, existing already since 2018. And today I'm here as the founder of superhero.com, which is a wallet and a social application where you can timestamp social posts or, generally speaking, information, and where you can tokenize trends and trade trends and a few more things.
Thank you. Oliver?
Thank you. I'm Oliver Feldmeier. In my past, I built a regulated cryptocurrency exchange here in the region. And since 2 years, I'm focusing on this intersection of blockchain and AI. So basically, what we're doing at Griffin AI is teaching AI agents how to use blockchain technology. And with that, we build specific AI agents for DeFi, crypto finance, and so on.
Wonderful. So let's start with the very basics first, before we move into kind of the movement from bots to agents and now agents to agents, kind of look at the very basics first. So maybe my question to you, Oliver, why does AI need blockchain in the first place? So where do we need this accountability and traceability that blockchain allows, and where does AI not have that inherently?
Good point. There are so many different use cases that where really blockchain fits the bill for AI. And if I speak for AI agents, for example, AI agents, they need to have their own financial means. They need to be able to transact. They need to be able to invest. They need to be able to manage their own portfolio of related agents and so on. They need authentication. They need reputation systems. They need, what you mentioned, traceability of their on-chain transactions and history. And this is exactly where blockchain, like all those all those things we have built as an industry over the last years and really got to a production ready level. And this will be, AI agents will be the really big use case for blockchain technology in the years going forward.
Okay. So in terms of terminology, I mean, in blockchain, we always discuss about smart contracts, about wallets. Is there something like an AI wallet? Is it the same like an agent? Anyone?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
An AI wallet, you mean like an agent which has access to a private key which can do transactions? For sure, there are such already now. Yeah. But what exactly is an AI wallet in case it's about a streamlined process of launching lots of agents, equipping them with completely separated private keys, which in case one gets hacked does not compromise the other ones. I'm not sure if this has been built. Like there's probably a lot of stuff still which can be done or should be done.
Okay. Want to add something on that?
No, I mean, obviously, there are, just to complement this, right? I mean, there are wallets held by AI agents, which keys are held, right? And so that is one of the essential things that I think will be relevant in, for instance, what we're building, but also what a lot of people are building, the ability for agents to perform actions, right? And to perform actions on chain and to settle transactions and to make payments, right? And of course, you see this. You see a bunch of new protocols, X402 by Coinbase, the agent payments protocol as a superset of that, right? And so all of these things rely on agents with wallets being able to act on them.
Okay. So on one hand, I think one of the key difference what we've seen in AI bots or just bots in the past, which are fully algorithmically preset, then we have AI agents. We have two distinctions. One, they can reason, and then they can, if connected to blockchain, hold assets. And if you look at this AI agent world in a blockchain, on-chain environment, what are typical use cases you see currently happening already? And when you look a bit in the future, what are you going to see? What are we going to see?
Yeah. So what I can speak to is what the agents we have built ourselves, and we see there's a clear movement away from those simple bots that have some kind of algorithmic trading strategies. They need a signal like the price moves beyond a certain moving average and then they buy. Those were the traditional bots and automation. But now using AI, natural language interfaces, large language models, we can actually not just automate a bot, but we can automate an entire investment team. So there are many bankers also here in the audience. Think of the typical banking setup where you have a product specialist, a client advisor, a risk manager, product specialists of different kinds, and they all work together to serve one client. And also the entire research domain and so on. And by using AI agents with large language models behind them, we can basically replicate those structures in multi-agent systems. So everybody, no matter what's your income, what's your wealth, can use those agent systems to interpret data, make investments decision, and manage their risk and their positions. And this is the big distinction from those former trading bots where you just automate a specific strategy. Now you can automate the entire investment team.
Okay, and then like a first reaction on my side is if you start automating entire investment teams, the decision-making process is being moved to the agent, and the execution is also with the agents holding all the assets. So who controls that, and how are those risks being mitigated? Anyone who can comment on that?
I mean, well, that's one of the challenges, right? I mean, to the extent that you make things smarter, you lose control over them, right? And so as you move from, algorithmic agents or bots, as we were talking about, you're getting less and less well, control is really the word, right, over the outcomes. And if you go with, actual general purpose reasoning agents, to the extent that you believe in, general purpose reasoning, but then it takes a leap of faith, right? I mean, you need to impose limits on things. But for instance, I mean, the example that we're toying with is, agents that can source data on any topic and use it to bet on poly markets. Right, and so without being predefined to take a specific strategy on a specific topic, this is a great outcome. Again, depending on your views on prediction markets, but it does mean that things can go very wrong very fast as well.
And can blockchain? I mean, before we talked about the kind of integration of blockchain into agents mainly as a transactional layer for digital assets. And could blockchain also be a mean to mitigate certain risks on the outcome level of what those agents decide on? Is that?
Yes, I mean, there are many ways you can actually use the AI to actually manage your risk. So you can specify certain liquidation thresholds. You can specify, if you have a landing position, you can specify certain actions if you're getting close to liquidation threshold. You can use AI to basically to monitor your transactions. Do the transactions that your wallet is executing fall in your typical user patterns or not? And if not, can you slow down the system? Can you introduce circuit breakers? So on the risk management side, I see lots of potential there. And Andreas, you mentioned before, I don't think everybody's ready to go into full automation and give everything to agents. I think at the current stage and the way we build agents, it's still always with the user the final decision to approve a transaction. Agents can propose and to suggest, and then they can. It's still up to the user to give approval. And on the other hand, on the risk mitigation side, we see more and more automation happening there, because here it's not about, here it's a way more deterministic system. So you can have very narrow path forwards and very narrow definitions what actions need to be taken under certain circumstances.
Okay. Interesting. And I think one part is now we've talked a lot about agents replacing the former bots as we've known it, but another element is that agent can be connected to other agents. And so we have kind of a machine economy being developed, agent-to-agent communication, making decisions fully autonomous, independent, connected to the smart contracts. Where do you see that economy developing?
From my perspective, we need to timestamp everything what is of public importance. We need to timestamp it on blockchains so that AI can actually produce meaningful results. In case we don't use blockchains to timestamp the input of the AI will also not give great output. So for example, self-driving cars or airplanes or drones or the future of war will all need to be on chain essentially in order to have secure agents, their identities on chain, that they can transact value, that they can exchange cryptographically encrypted information peer-to-peer without intermediaries, without single point of failures, without that the system can go down, because it's absolutely critical to keep these systems up. So from my perspective, it's pretty obvious that without great blockchain support at the foundational level of computer science, we will not have AGI or very much use of the technology which we call also large language models, which depend on huge amounts of data.
And what kind of, to make it a bit more concrete for the audience, what kind of use cases in these machine economies or agent-to-agent economies do you actually see developing first and being used in a wider context?
I mentioned autonomous cars or generally vehicles, could be also flying vehicles, generally when you need to exchange lots of information which is critical in real time, you need to have a peer-to-peer cryptographic system, which is probably also going to be blockchain based.
Okay, so let's take the example of the self-driving cars. Which information will there be needed to exchange, and and how does the transaction layer of blockchain play in?
For example, when they want to negotiate whether a car is allowed to overtake another car or not, they could come up with a price to pay to just drive ahead to be faster than the other car to make space on public road. This would be a great example of how these agents could communicate with each other. Whether you're gonna need for this use case an LLM is maybe not so needed, probably a better well-defined protocol. But for example, when you do research about buying a car, such agents could be extremely helpful, which then access, for example, information or pay for information which is not accessible usually. Right now, there's so much gated information, so much siloed information. In case all this information would be easily accessible for agents with a blockchain payment interface, this would also improve everything.
Yeah.
Can I just dissent a little bit?
Please do.
No, I think this is the long-term take, and I think it makes perfect sense, right? I mean, but to answer your question in the immediate term, I think it will mostly be boring things that already consist of interactions in the present day, right? So right now, cars don't yet talk to each other if they want to overtake. Obviously, that will allow for increased efficiency and a number of improvements in road safety as well. But where you will see this taking off first is things that already include, right now potentially person-to-person interaction, and that can be just offloaded to agents that do that interaction. And it really is the boring things.
So actually, before this panel, we had some email communication. It sounded that everybody was just copying their text into ChatGPT and replying. It's already happening, this of course hybrid human-machine to machine and human communication.
Yeah.
Just to add here, it's if you design agents, there are different approaches you can take. You can try to design, and we see that in some coding agents, for example, like super monolithic agents, where one agent does everything end to end. And the other approach is that agents are built for very specific use cases, and you then orchestrate a system, a multi-agent system, where many agents are working together. And in today's world, we are not there with AGI yet. So at some point, I just read a statistic, I believe GPT-5 now ranks 58% on a new AGI benchmark test, so it's still some while to go until we get to 100%, until AGI is better than we human at pretty much every task. So this will still take a bit of time. And during this time, I believe this multi-agent approach is at least the most pragmatic approach to building agent, meaning you don't have to build one super agent that does everything, but you build one agent for one specific use case. This might be one agent to produce really great videos, one agent to do really good investment research, one agent to write really good copy, one agent to prepare the best panel discussions that you could have at a conference. Now, those agents, they sometimes need another agent. So you have a great panel discussion agent, now you want to make a video out of it. So rather than this one agent learning video capabilities, it would be logical to collaborate with another agent built for the purpose of video production. So those are the areas where I see a commerce, an ecosystem of agent-to-agent interaction and exchange of value happening, where you really combine different agents to get the job done, much more than having just single narrow agents.
Okay. And that will basically then conclude that blockchain technology moving in, the key function of blockchain will be the payment layer between, or the transaction layer between those agents.
That's a core layer, how to make payments, but also it's the trust layer. Can you record past transactions? Do you see if this agent is real? Does he have good ratings? Does he do a good job? What is his transaction record? It will be the authentication layer. Can you use private key to authenticate messages so that your agent knows who the other counterpart really is? So there are many elements and many factors from ID, reputation, payments, trust layer that we have built that we can now apply to agents.
All right.
I think in the end, I mean, it just helps, like, it doesn't make sense to apply existing coordination mechanisms that were built, over decades of human-to-human interaction to agents that are being deployed in a fundamentally decentralized manner, right? And so it's not just settlement, it's everything that requires, interaction and that requires coordination will benefit from doing that in a way that is disintermediary and that allows for, peer-to-peer, transparent, but still transparent relationships. Yes.
Great, thanks a lot. I think time is almost over, so I take the liberty to ask one last question to all of you, just as a kind of a final statement, and that would be, what are the key obstacles you currently see from kind of that prevent this conversion of AI and blockchain fully happening? What needs to be, what kind of puzzle stone need to be put in place for that to actually happen in the coming years?
I mean, I don't know how spicy I should be here, but I think the biggest problem is a social one, in the sense that, in 2017 we were talking about, right? You have the Long Island iced tea company rebrand as the Long Blockchain company in order to forex their stock, right? And I do think that a lot of the shift or convergence between blockchain and AI is perceived as, just chasing the easy money that moved from one side to the other, and a lot of it is true, to be honest. So I do think that we need to eventually find the needles in the haystack and reduce all of the noise, and that will be the thing that actually brings us to convergence. It's not a technical consideration. It's just reducing the noise around it.
Thank you.
The biggest obstacle for adoption.
Yeah.
Usability, or generally the user interfaces, need to be probably also changed a lot. I mean, ChatGPT did break through with, let's say, this chat interface to have conversational interfaces with AI, but for software developments, I think GitHub is not really the best, or generally the Web 2 needs to be completely replaced with a new cryptographic web, essentially. This is what is
Web 3. Or
Web
4.
3 or 4 or 5, a cryptographic web, let's call it like this.
Okay. Great, thank you. Oliver?
Yeah, I would kind of echo what was previously said. I think in the blockchain space, we have built great technology and we focus much on infrastructure. This is, for many years, what got funded. If you needed funds, well, you build infrastructure, then you got VC money. So lots of money and brain went into building infrastructure that we now have. What we are still lacking, this is the real use cases. So real use cases that brings everyday people to use blockchain technology or agents to use blockchain technology. And that's, for us, the niche we focus on, building very specific agent in a specific domain so that we can get this use case right, and with that drive adoption. And this user adoption, for it to happen, we need to have the solutions that really solve human needs and requirements.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you all for the panel. Maybe one last question before we walk off stage to you, audience. Looking 5 years in the future, and please, looking 5 years in the future, which one of you believe that we're going to be completely used to agent kind of communication, agent to agents, markets where agents communicate and pay on-chain for compute and data services? Raise your hands, who will leave within 5 years? Yeah, that's more or less half. That's quite impressive. You share that optimism?
Of course. Absolutely.
Probably, yes.
We can discuss the timeline. I'm a bit more optimistic, but...
Even more optimistic, okay. Wonderful. Thank you all for listening, for being here. Thank you for participating, and have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Andreas.
Thanks.